Of the NBA's all-time greats. And how could you ever mention Indy and not think of the Brickyard? And then, of course, there's the general, the volatile one, Coach Bobby Knight. But now there's something new in town, as the greatest volleyball players in the world today invade Indianapolis. Yes, the Pro Beach Volleyball Tour hits Indy with a vengeance. It's the AVP, it's Prime Sports, and it's next. AVP Tour makes its first stop to the Midwest. We come to the Tennis Center. Yeah, we'll show you some beach volleyball under the lights. This is the AVP Open at Indianapolis, presented by Kodak. Fun Saver, pocket cameras. Paul Sunderland with Tim Hovland. We're getting ready for semifinal action, and believe me, it is going to be interesting. Part of one team, Dane Blanton. You've seen him earlier in the year out of Pepperdine University. Had a great season so far, but his new partner, Beef Bill Boulliane, remember, played 5 tournaments earlier in the year with Randy Stoklos. Off to a pretty good start, been dealing with some injuries. I mentioned Randy Stoklos because the opposition today, his former partner, Randy Stoklos, winner of 122 tournaments throughout the course of his career. He and Bill Boulliane are no more, and they face one another. And Stoklos' new partner, Eduardo Bacil, call him Anginio, the little angel, of course, became famous playing with Jose Loyola, and now he is with Randy Stoklos, anxious for a shot to get back into the upper echelon of the Pro Beach Tour. Working again, once again, with my partner, Tim Hovland, and this is going to be a very interesting match as Randy Stoklos hits the first swing of the match. Long. I would say we might get some fireworks.
There's a lot of fireworks out here. There's fireworks in the locker room before they came out here. Have little pointy fingers and saying, "I want you." Stokey and Boulliane broke up, and they want to see who's the best player out there.
Looking to make it 2-0, tight set. Dane Blanton over the top and down. Stoklos and Anginio have had a marvelous tournament so far. They made it all the way to the winner's bracket final before suffering their first loss to Karch Kirai and Kent Steppes. And all the same to Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane. We'll run down their roads to this semifinal match. Dane Blanton with a missed serve down the line. You remember, of course, Dane Blanton played earlier in the year with Canyon Seaman, who unfortunately suffered a very serious foot injury in San Francisco a couple of weeks ago. Will be out for a long, long time. Anginio back to serve, now 25 years of age. Had a marvelous beginning to his career, but the last year and a half's been pretty tough.
A little tough, but he's had some in and outs. Oh, boy, on the net.
Bill Boulliane with the unforced errors. A lot of mistakes early. Do you think that the confrontation has distracted the players as opposed to focusing them early?
They're a little nervous to start with. Maybe a couple out balls, a couple balls on the ground, but they're going to calm down in the middle of this game and have a war.
And let's not forget about the battle between Dane Blanton and Anginio, but right now it's all about between Randy Stoklos and Bill Boulliane.
Stokey, when he gets mad, he gets up and gets over the net. Watch Stokey timing it perfectly. Bill goes down the line. Stokey penetrates with the left arm. Bam, straight down.
Randy Stoklos looking for his first win in a long, long time. Hasn't been in a final yet this year. Most recent final appearance was last year at Manhattan with Scott Akatub. He's a very proud player, of course, winner of 122 tournaments. And there's Bill Boulliane. He and Randy Stoklos played in 5 tournaments together. They finished 3rd twice. Those were their best finishes. And then, of course, having to do with the Olympics, Randy Stoklos, if you haven't heard, and Adam Johnson are back together again. Stokey dumped Boulliane in order to play with Johnson in the Olympics. And Boulliane said, look, if I'm not good enough for you for the Olympic trials, then we're done. That's the end of our partnership.
Which Bill had to do.
Absolutely.
Because he's got to pick up. Canyon came down with that broken toe, so there's a good move for Bill because the Olympic trials are only 3 weeks away. They're going to play in 3 tournaments before that, and they're going to get a good look at each other.
More on that in a minute because it gets very interesting. That ball, a great shot down the sideline. We get the side out. Now, who would Bill Boulliane have played with if Canyon Seaman had not gotten hurt? That is the interesting story.
I think he would have tried to break up Ludes and Frohoff because they haven't been playing real well this year so far, so they could have gone there, but unfortunate for Canyon, unfortunate for Bill.
Right, and that's exactly what Bill Boulliane told me this week. He said Canyon Seaman's misfortune was my good fortune because I get Dane Blanton, who's really playing great volleyball so far this year. Side out to Anginio and Randy Stoklos. Of course, Anginio came out on the tour, the first non-Americans to really make a mark He and Jose Loyola played a long, long time together. A lot of unforced errors early as we take our first side change. And Gino playing with Randy Stoklos. They're off to a good start right now on top. 3-2. We're in Indy at the Tennis Center, and we're just getting started. Semifinal action. Part of the crowd here that is gathered in Indy. We are at the Tennis Center, a very unique side. Again, we've had some night beach volleyball, and we'll show that to you a little bit later on. Up in our perch, welcome back, Paul Sunderland with my partner, Tim Hovland. Now, Tim, you've dumped your share of players through the years, and it always seems to happen. The next week, you're bound to get them in an important match, and we've had it again with Bill Boulliane and Randy Stoklos.
It's a bad thing to do, but now the matchup is, why'd you dump me, or I had to dump you? So whoever wins this match is going to feel so much better about themselves. There's a lot on this match right here, Paul.
There is indeed, and don't forget, only 3 more weeks and counting it down until the Olympic Games. Got a couple of new things for you. This week, we've got the Hobbs Straighter. A lot more of that for you a little later on, and also someone new to our coverage of the AVP, and let's get to her right now. Take it away, Dina.
And we're having a wonderful time. I'm showing you all the fans. We've got Wisconsin. We got Indy. We've got St. Louis. And we got Kentucky. Who are you here to see? Carter Cat, kick some butt! All right, so that's what's going on in the stands. What's going on up in the booth?
Well, Tim and I are doing just fine and dandy. Not quite having as much fun as you, Dina, but we're looking forward to some real fireworks here in the semifinals. Bill Boulliane was not happy a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco when Randy Stoklos was facing the deadline of entering names, of course, for the Olympic trials, which are coming up June 8 and 9. And he told Boulliane, I'm going with AJ, and Boulliane said bye-bye.
It was a little late, too, Paul. If he'd done it a couple weeks earlier, I could see it. But, you know, waiting until the last minute like that. But Randy says he's got to make his choices, and he did it.
Well, another example of why this is a business and a very big one. Chance for Anginio. Blanton with the touch. Good chase by Bill Boulliane. Keeping it on Anginio. Anginio from the left and hits the ball hard off of Dane Blanton. Anginio, no stranger to big volleyball matches, but he has been missing in action for the last year or so, and very, very glad to have this opportunity to get back into the mix.
He hits the ball extremely well. Everybody says he's so small, but he's got a quick arm swing, and he sees the court real well.
Well, you've played a number of tournaments as recently as last year with Anginio, and I want to talk to you a lot about his game. I really think he's very, very gifted. And so is Dane Blanton. We've talked about him all season long, started with Canyon Seaman, has been in a final already. And he's becoming one of the most explosive hitters on the left side on the tour.
Blanton's got a cross-court angle as his favorite shot. In the clutch, he goes that a lot. If you open that up for him, it's hard to bring that thing back.
Dane Blanton again with Canyon Seaman started out slowly, a 17th in Phoenix, but then 7th, then a 2nd in Fort Myers. They should have won that final. They were ahead of Curia and Steffes substantially in the finals, but it takes a while to learn how to win. Service error here by Bill Boulliane.
I talked with Dane about that, and he says, you know, we got a little nervous. We're up 13-8. Playing Karch and Ken, probably the best team to play this sport in a long time, and they just lost their concentration.
Right. It's scary to think, my goodness, what's next? If we beat them the 3rd week of the season, all of a sudden people are going to start expecting us to be in there every week. But again, the injury to Canyon Seaman, compound dislocation of his toe, big toe, and underwent surgery in San Francisco, and we hope to see him back. He's entered in the Olympic trials, but maybe that's wishful thinking.
He says he can wear a tennis shoe probably. I've had a dislocated toe, but this one was a compound, came through the top. It was very ugly. You're going to maybe have to wear a brace where you're scooping your toe up a little bit like a surfboard. It's not that comfortable, but Canyon can do it.
Right. I think he wants to participate in the Olympic trials, and I certainly give him credit for that. Tough serve by Anginio down the line, looking for 5. Stoklos stuffed by Boulliane. Good cover. And Anginio off of Bill Boulliane. That's him. Talk to us about Anginio. I think everyone would agree he's got fabulous ball control, passing and setting. But can he side out well enough to win a tournament?
He can side out well enough to win a tournament. Why? Because he's learned a lot since he left Loyola. Loyola was the star of the show. Now Anginio's had to adjust to different players, and he's growing in his game. So he can side out. He wants to. He knows he can win. He's just got to calm down and play up to his abilities.
All right, we're in semifinal action. We've got a break on the court. Randy Stoklos and his new partner, Anginio, against Bill Boulliane and his new partner. Back semifinal action in Indianapolis is the AVP Open presented by Kodak Fun Saver cameras. Everybody having a lot of fun, but Anginio wasn't having too much fun with that toss, so he will reload. On the beach, you can toss the ball twice. Different than the international rules, as we better get used to. Anginio, of course, the only time he's ever won on the AVP Tour was indoors at the beginning of last year with Jose Loyola. They played a number of tournaments at the beginning of the season, but then that came to an end. He has had 8 top 4 finishes, 7 of them last year with Loyola, the other last year with my partner, Tim Hovland. So that's why he knows intimately about the playing style and abilities of Anginio. Fabulous setter, good defensive player, wonderful all-around skills.
He's got great shots, too, Paul. He brings these pokey shots, these reverse Brazilian coconut shots. I don't know where he's getting them, but he makes them go down.
The reverse coconut.
It's unbelievable.
I've never seen that one. You'll have to point it out to me.
It'll come up.
Bill Boulliane from the right side. Anginio's there easily. And off of Dane Blanton, not necessarily bringing the heat, but a very smart shot. And there you see the good breakaway speed of Anginio on the cut shot.
He's got good speed. He's got good. He waits and evaded Bill a little bit on that side and came in and got the ball up. Good defensive player.
Randy Stoklos got to be feeling very good about getting to the finals of the winners bracket. And here to the semifinals. Stuff block by Randy Stoklos against his old partner, Bill Boulliane. That takes us to 7-2, a commanding lead early for Stoklos and Anginio.
The set is a little bit too far inside here. Bill can't put that ball down. He's got to bring the ball down just a little bit so he can keep the ball inside, so he can keep the ball in front of him.
We've got a timeout on the court here, and while we do, let's of course take a look at the Miller Lite Cup. Of course, the $1 million bonus pool that is up for grabs and will be all the way through the season. It awards consistent performance, and who's on top? None other than Karch Kirai. Kent Steffes is in second. They're not tied because, of course, Kent missed a tournament at the end of last year when we started counting points. Akatubby, Adam Johnson, Jose Loyola, Mike Dot. Those are your top 8 right now. $1 million overall in bonus pool standings. If Karch Kirai were to stay right there, he would win it again and take home $125,000 on top of everything else he's going to earn all season long. Right now, you don't see Randy Stoklos' name on that list. He, of course, would like to move up. Again, we're in the tennis center. You see the comfortable seats here, people out in the sun working on their tans. And I'll tell you, summer has arrived in the Midwest. But Randy Stoklos, again, 122 career wins, 115 of those with St. John Smith. He's won over $1,688,000, but about 40,000 this year. And those are not Stokey-esque sort of numbers. Nice tap. That's a Stokey-esque sort of play as we take another side change, and he points at his new partner, Anginio. Thanks for the dig.
Watch Anginio hanging in there, right off his chest, right on the net. Stokey baits him a little bit. Little cut shot on the ground.
Stokey, he attracted the double team and just tapped it aside. You're looking at the back as we come back of Anginio, the little angel, of course, out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I mentioned that he started his AVP career with Jose Loyola. They split, but when they came, their first final was in the first year in '93, the first foreign team ever to make it to the finals. 2 finals in '94, 2 in '95, and then he split with Jose Loyola and never thought at times he would get a partner back like Randy Stoklos. But now he is so happy to be back in the mix, and when you're getting stuff blocks like that, I would be as well.
Watch Stokey getting over the net here, puts the crater block right here back down on Boulliane. You don't get Stokey mad.
I like that crater. That was a big crater.
The big crater block. He come back and with an ace, sir.
Randy Stoklos turning it on here with the ace.
Randy is the kind of guy, when you're playing against him, you got a lead, don't start taunting him, because he gets more upset. The more upset you get, the better he plays.
Well, they've got an 8-point lead right now, 10-2, just absolutely dominating, and it'll help them to mow through if they can continue against Blanton and Boulliane, because, of course, waiting in the wings, the #1 seed, Karch Kirai and Kent Steffes.
Great cross-court crush by Boulliane right there.
Blanton and Boulliane have had a very good tournament. Again, remember, their first event together, they will play as partners in the Olympic trials in Baltimore coming up in a month. So some pressure on them really to perform, and they've done wonderfully well. In the quarters, they beat Dodd and Whitmarsh 15-14, and then they lost to the same team, Stoklos and Anginio, 15-11 in the semifinals. And then as they dropped down into the losers, got another real test, beat Fenoy-Mowana and Hyger, who finished 5th in double overtime, and then they beat Akatubby and Lewis, who, remember, the champions in San Diego, beat them 15-9. So this is a wonderful start for Boulliane and Blanton.
And they look pretty fresh right now. They've had 3 or 4 tough games this weekend, but they're in good physical condition, and they'll see if that can pay off right here by turning this game around a little bit.
Bill Boulliane has been bothered all season long by a bit of a back injury that he suffered at Phoenix. And that was some time ago, but it's still bothering him. But I talked to him in the locker room before the game. He says he's getting better each week, and we've had a week off since San Francisco, and he's healed a little bit.
That's the key to success, is though, that week off. You can mend your little hurts, get them back, get your mind set, come into this tournament, and lay it out.
How much more fired up and focused are you to play when you're with a new partner?
Oh, it's like your first date. You got to be good. If you don't come out there, you don't play good, it won't last. So it's very important.
And the same situation for Anginio and Randy Stoklos. Remarkable what Anginio and Loyola accomplished, but Anginio then went from one partner to another and really never had the same sort of success.
He's underrated because he's playing with Loyola, who can get up and bomb, and he's a very spectacular player. But Anginio holds his own with any player out here.
And because Loyola is so gregarious, so outgoing, attracts so much attention, and is so spectacular, a lot of times when Loyola might be responsible for a loss, Anginio seemed to always take the blame.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the breaks. The more spectacular, the more attention you're getting.
Anginio going off the top and out of bounds. Anginio, who I was talking to just a little while ago, he said, I had to be patient. I had to work on my game. I even thought about going back to Brazil and playing on their tour, but the International Federation said, no way.
Yeah.
They wanted him back full-time to play for Brazil at the Olympics and really tried to leverage him, and he wouldn't do it. Nice cross-court shot by Dane Blanton.
That's Blanton's best shot right there, that good cross-court. Coming in here, he sees the wide-open spot. Boom, straight down.
And Dane Blanton, to continue that point, they've got tremendous confidence, and he does, against a blocker like Mike Whitmarsh. So if he can put the ball away against Whit consistently, Blanton is a real hitter to deal with. Randy Stoklos, a crank from the left side.
Stokey feeling good about himself. They get a couple points right here, they could ice it.
Talked to Randy Stoklos this week, and I'll tell you, he's awfully hungry to get back in the spotlight. Training much more diligently. He's working out hard 3 days a week, lifting, doing circuit training, everything he can to stay up in the upper echelon. Really wants to get into the Olympic Games and then do well there.
He's looking as big as he's ever looked. I'm telling you, he's cut. He's hungry for to get back in the finals. Smith and Stokey had many a year being on top. He's been around it, but he hasn't been in the real show lately.
This is semifinal action. Of course, this is the AVP Open at Indianapolis, presented by Kodak Fun Saver cameras, and a lot of them in the audience and getting some great shots here. Wonderful volleyball all week long, and again, because of the tennis stadium configuration, we had some night pro beach volleyball. We'll show that to you a little bit later. Side out, coming to Anginio and Stoklos.
The stadium, it brings a big point here. There's kind of a swirly wind, so there's no real good side. Kind of swirls from the left and comes out the right side here.
Anginio serving right into that tunnel as well. Serving into the wind, going to Bill Boulliane. That ball is set well back. Pokey by Stokey. And cranky by Stokey. All right, another point by Anginio and Stoklos. And you wonder if Boulliane and Blanton can do anything to stop this onslaught.
Stokey coming off the net with a nice pokey. Anginio with those sweet hands puts him right on. And he makes them pay.
I'll tell you, Anginio and Stoklos immediately become one of the top setting teams in the world. I put Lewis and Akatubby maybe a little bit ahead, but who would you think is on top, and where would you rank these players?
I would say the best setting team is Ak and Louis.
Yes.
And these guys are second right now. There's not much of a difference, but just that little bit. In the wind, though, Ak's ball's so dead that it moves around a little bit. Their ball kind of spins a little bit, might be better. Who knows?
Stoklos passes a ball that spins a little bit, but I think Anginio's got plenty of confidence to set that ball with his hands.
Exactly. Only weakness Stokey has sometimes is that first pass brings him off the net a little bit, but Anginio can set that ball with his hands.
Anginio with a jump serve ace right up the middle. We go to 12-2, 10-point lead, and so far at least domination by Stoklos and Anginio. Anginio still only 25 years of age and has appeared in many a final and maybe headed for his first in a long time. That would be awfully sweet. A great comeback by Anginio, and it took a lot of patience. Dane Blanton hard cross court once again. How would you block Dane Blanton?
I would take his angle as much as possible. When the ball drifts outside a little bit, he always comes back inside of the ball. If the ball's inside, it looks like he'll cut the line a little bit. But 8 out of 10 times, it's hitting that hard angle.
Dane Blanton, only 24 years of age, grew up in Laguna Beach. He and his brother used to go down and literally sleep on Main Beach and started playing down there. A basketball player as well in high school, and went and played for Marv Dunphy at Pepperdine University. Won an NC2A championship while he was there as an outside hitter. Always wanted to play on the beach.
Yeah.
Talked to him about, you know, playing indoors on the national team and whatnot, and he always thought that his game was best suited for the beach, and he's proving right. Boulliane looking for a much-needed point. Gator. Right to Anginio. Pokey. Boulliane's there, looking for the side out. The dust is kicking up. Anginio cannot make the play. Good work. Good work in the dust by Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane, and he takes a little pose down. You can have some fun when you're down 12-3. Do you need a comeback if you're Blanton and Boulliane? You bet. When's it going to start?
Great play right there. Boulliane waiting off the net right here in the corner, makes a great diving up and approaches the ball. It puts the ball off the block into the stands for a quick point. Great up. Glenn with a nice set. Off the block. Big rally point win there.
Just a small taste of the Hofstrader. We'll have that for you throughout the course of the tournament here and, of course, the rest of the summer. And now let's go down to the third member of our broadcast team. Dina, where are you now? Take it away.
We're over here soaking up the sun here in Indy. Now, I'm sitting here with Big Jim. Big Jim, you could have gone to the Indy 500, but you chose volleyball instead.
Well, given the choice, should be obvious. Beautiful women, best athletes in the world.
All right, and what have you been impressed with today?
I like the beach, the babes, and the beer.
Woo! So that's what's going on down here in the stands. What's it like in your neighborhood?
Well, we're in the penthouse. A little bit windy, a little bit hot, but very comfortable. And would you call it a surprisingly strong performance by Stoklos and Anginio, or Boulliane and Blanton just a little bit out of gas?
I think Anginio and Stokey have been playing pretty well right now. And he's probably a little tired. I maybe give him too much credit for being in too good a shape, but they have had 2 tough games today. It's 90 degrees, 90% humidity, you'd say.
And we've been in San Diego and San Francisco the last couple of weeks. Very mild temperatures. Our first real blast of the heat probably since Clearwater. Before we went to break, I asked when would the comeback begin, and maybe it will now. 2 in a row for Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane. They close the lead down to 8, now trailing 12-4.
They have nothing to lose right now. They got to bomb a couple of jump serves, get some aces, and get some confidence back in their game.
Let's remember, in the match for 4th place, they trailed Lewis and Akatubby big over the top, and Dane Blanton lucky that he was not half a centimeter taller, because he did everything he could to touch that ball, and it was long.
Stokey draws him in, tries to go over the top. Blanton's going for it. Just lets it go out of bounds, just barely.
And another ace serve. That's 4 points in a row for Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane. As I started to say, Boulliane and Blanton trailed Lewis and Akatubby in the match before this as they were trying to advance 7-2 early, and they came back and stormed against Ack and Louie, winning 15-9, getting into the semifinal round, so they can make a run.
That was a big turnaround.
Keeping the ball on Stoklos. Boulliane is there, and the ball's blowing around. Anginio, cross court, Boulliane, Blanton running out of room.
Great rally. Boulliane Why has he improved this year? Because of his defense. His defense has come around. He's starting to know the hitters, know where to go, keep those feet still on defense. People who move their feet aren't going to dig a lot of balls.
Did it hurt his defense playing with Brian Lewis? Because he always blocked.
Of course it did. He's blocking all the time. Right now they're going 50-50. You got to play the all-around game.
And don't get quite as tired. Good set by Blanton. Crank cross court by Bill Boulliane. Boulliane, of course, played most of last year with Brian Lewis, his only career win in Belmar.
Boulliane sees the inside track right here. Crash right off Jack, out of bounds.
Now you call him Jack. Is that where did you initiate that nickname? Calling Anginio Jack?
I did initiate that nickname. He looks a lot like Jack Nicholson late at night when he's running around. And that's where that name came from. So everybody now could have been Ingenio. We call him Jack.
All right, we'll have to fix that. His name is Eduardo Bacil. Comes from, of course, Brazil. And down there, if you're a good athlete, you have one name like Pele or whatever it may be. Mauricio. He's known as Anginio, but with Hav, it's just Jack. Boulliane from the right side off Stoklos and down. Again, Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane were down 12-2. Side change at 12-3, and now we're at 12-6.
We get an 8-12 side switch. They're back in this ball game. 13-7, you got not a great shot, but 12-8, you're in the game.
These two teams met earlier in the tournament in the semifinals. That match won by Stoklos and Anginio. Stokey, hard cross court. Why are they serving Randy Stoklos so much right now?
You know what? I think they're feeling good about that win coming out of that corner in this stadium. So he's trying to get a couple of aces, and he got him in trouble in the first 3 serves. So I think it's good to stay with it.
Again, this is semifinal action, and we are in Indy with the AVP Tour. Paul Sunderland with Tim Hovland. And Bill Boulliane, once again, tapping down on the right side, just finding enough of Randy Stoklos to get the deflection and the touch.
Lucky play. And Gino was ready, coming across over here. It blocks it off here and comes over the right side here. Gino breaking, ball's deflected the other way.
One arm stab by Dane Blanton. Looking for another point. Blanton cranking cross court. I'll tell you, I think it's time to think TO, baby, if you're Anginio and Randy Stoklos. Make it 12-7.
Great play by Blanton right here. Set right on the net. Watch Blanton. Inside, straight down with authority.
Boy, and look how much room Dane Blanton had back across to the line, and he still hammered it inside Randy Stoklos and Anginio's defense for the kill, and another point on the board as it's 12-7. Of course, a lot of money up for grabs here in Indianapolis, as there is every week on the AVP Tour. Prize money, $125,000. First place team will split $25,000. Second will split 14 and change. Third, $11,000. Fourth, you see the numbers right there. 32 teams, of course, in the tournament this week. They will all earn money at the AVP Indianapolis Open, of course, presented by Kodak Fun Saver Pocket Cameras.
Feeling the confidence right now, Blanton and Boulliane.
Well, this is a comeback team. They don't start playing until they're down 7 or 8 points. Another one-hand dig. Can Blanton get there? He does, but shanks it into the upper level. Good hustle. I'll tell you, they are playing. It's like they got a wake-up call.
It is unbelievable. Some teams start off like that. Dodd and I would always get down 4-1, 8-2, but in the middle of the game, you come back, you tie it up, you get close, and then you win it at the end.
Bill Boulliane getting in a pretty good side-out rhythm. Randy Stoklos and Anginio struggling. Anginio to serve. Going back to Blanton. Tight set. And the tap down. I'll tell you, Anginio just can't believe with so little sideline. I think he keeps being fooled that Blanton can sneak it in there.
Watch Blanton here, sees him, but still cuts it inside Anginio down to the ground. Feeling the confidence. They trade 12-8.
80% of the court is unoccupied, and Blanton's still going after the short side. There you see service aces. Bill Boulliane with 3. Looking for another number 4, keeping it on Anginio. Tight set. Jump set and stuff block, but well out of bounds. Anginio staring back at Dane Blanton a little bit. No bad feelings there, certainly. Stokey with the rare jump set.
Great jump set. Blanton has the roof going, but his hands are a little bit out of position. Tools him out of bounds.
Good hard hit by Anginio. Got to hit that ball hard if you want to work it off the block on the tight set. Randy Stoklos to serve Bill Boulliane. Dane Blanton take a timeout.
This is it.
We are in our 9th regular season tournament. We've played a couple indoors, and here are the money leaders so far on the season through May 6th. No surprise. KK, the king of the beach, Karch Kirai, almost $160,000. His partner, Kent Steffes, $105,000. Jose Loyola, a very good season, but he and AJ have been struggling a little bit. Tim and I will talk about that. Whitmarsh, Adam Johnson, Scott Akatubby, Mike Dodd. You wonder why the partnerships may have a little bit different money. Of course, we had the king of the beach at the beginning of the season. And right on cue, there is the king of the beach sitting comfortably in the shade, scouting the opposition. He and Kent Steffes are in the finals.
You can feel the momentum switching right here. They get a 12-8 switch. Watch Beef comes up aggressively now and attacks the ball. Before he was a little hesitant, you can feel himself watching the ball a lot better right now.
Dane Blanton going back to Stoklos. Sweet set by Anginio, and Stoklos right on the sideline by Stokey for the side out.
That just touched the tape right there.
Talked about Randy Stoklos's training this year, really trying to step it up. Misses so much being in the finals, playing before the big crowds, and hadn't been in a final all season long. Looking for his first this weekend in Indianapolis. That ball served long. Side out to Boulliane and Dane Blanton, but we're going to talk about it a little bit. And Greg Krause, I think, is making the biggest mistake you can. Come down and take a look. We're in a tennis stadium. It's one thing to come down and take a look at a clay court. It's another, and Greg goes, "Oh, guys, I was right. It was out by a centimeter."
You get off that stand, you're subject to everybody around you there. You're on the stand, nobody can get at you. I say stay up on that stand, make the call, and stay by it.
It's like a politician making a speech, you know. If it's well received, you come down with the people. If they don't like what you're saying, you stay up there and just wave goodbye.
Go out the back door.
That's right. Bill Boulliane didn't like that toss.
Coming back at Stokey here. He's been the last 4 or 5 serves right on Stokey.
He was really upset with Randy Stoklos. Left a message on my machine that took up about the whole tape explaining what had happened. Stokey dropped him 5 days before the deadline for the Olympic trials. And again, we'll tell the story again if you weren't with us at the beginning of the match. Canyon Seaman, who started the year with Dane Blanton, serious injury to his big toe a couple of weeks ago in San Francisco. That's the only reason Dane Blanton was available to play with Boulliane in the Olympic trials. Otherwise, Bill Boulliane, and I agree with you, would have gone to Frohoff Ludi's as a split up.
I think so. That's his only option. But out of that, he was out to dry. Unlucky for Canyon and lucky for Bill.
Of course, we wish the best to Canyon Seaman, a wonderful young talent on the Pro Tour out of Stanford. And Genio blocks. Stoklos is there. Stoklos off the top of Bill Boulliane. And you wonder what will happen. You know, Canyon Seaman's going to be 100%, of course, by the end of the year. But if Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane qualify for the Olympics, play in the Olympics, play like this, it's going to be hard for Canyon Seaman to get back in the mix.
You got to stay together.
You got to stay healthy.
You got to.
Randy Stoklos said that injuries were certainly a big part of some of the problems that he's had the last couple of years. Dane Blanton tattooing again cross court. How many kills for Dane Blanton right now? How many kills does Dane Blanton have?
Watch Blanton here. Lay it out. Great pass. Billy puts him on the net. He comes with a patented cross-court hit. Great shot by Blanton.
Dane Blanton with 7 kills. They've just been so spectacular, it feels like 17. And Genio, once again, hitting the ball hard off Dane Blanton. Okay, you're Dane Blanton's blocking coach. What do you tell him right now? Because he keeps getting used.
Watch, and Genio waits a little bit. He hesitates a little bit, watches the hands come down, then he hits the ball. So go up just a little bit later and keep your hands over the net.
Should remind everyone that Stoklos and Anginio, you've seen them play together before, just not this season and not for quite some time. They played a number of tournaments together last year. We'll get to those results in just a minute. Randy Stoklos, of course, when Adam Johnson left him to go play with Jose Loyola, Stoklos teamed up with Anginio, and if I'm not mistaken, they played against each other the very next week. It always happens. Stoklos off the block and out of bounds.
Yes, they did. But this weekend is the first time, to my recollection, that Anginio has beaten Loyola in that 15-14 match.
That's great revenge. Again, we talked about the wonderful performance of Anginio and Randy Stoklos, and some question marks about Adam Johnson and Jose Loyola and how they're doing right now. We'll talk about that in a moment. I'll make sure you know what's going on throughout the course of the bracket every weekend. Bill Boulliane, Anginio there. First point in a long time, and Anginio gets it. That's a big score. Stoklos and Anginio go to the 13-7 lead and the side change. Anginio, the little angel, playing big. 13-7 is the lead.
Watch here, the hobby straighter. Stokey retreating off the net, sets it up, and Genio's waiting, hoping that Bill will cut the ball, and then he'll come in and dig the ball and put it away. Lays it out. Stokey with a great set, and Anginio with some Brazilian heat.
That was heat from the right side. And a good example of team defense right there. You know that Stoklos, as you see him backing up, Anginio playing center field, and then gets an excellent break on the cut shot from Boulliane.
The key to dropping out the net is getting set up. He dropped early enough, set up his feet, and then he cut the ball, and Anginio could lay out and bring that ball right up.
Stokey got back far enough with his hands up to take away the line shot. Beautiful team defense by Stoklos and Anginio, and we showed it to you on the Hob Straighter. We told you that Stoklos and Anginio played together in '95. San Francisco a fifth, Atlanta a fifth, Baltimore a fifth, and then Seaside Heights a 25th. And that was the end of their partnership. And then Anginio went to Tim Hovland and took a fourth in Chicago.
That was a great fourth. We have had a lot of victories. But the next weekend,
25th in mini. Oh, you told me you didn't want to talk about that one.
I was still sore from the fourth the weekend before.
Anginio has played with Wes Welch. He got off to a good start at the beginning of this year with Ian Clark, but now hopes to be back in the big time for a long while. Of course, will not play with Stoklos for a couple of weeks. Olympic trials and then the Olympic Games should Stoklos and Johnson qualify, but he has certainly proved up. They'll be together next week in Atlanta. You can count on that. Again, this is semifinal action. Paul Sunderland with Tim Hovland. Randy Stoklos and Anginio got out to the big early lead, up 12-2 and then 12-3, but then Bill Boulliane and Dane Blanton made a big run, but the 13-7 side change was key. Anginio with the cut shot.
They were a little hesitant when they came out, Boulliane and Blanton. It should have been a little bit looser, but they got a shot at this game, but they got to start serving that ball. They loosened up well in that last little segment, but they got to serve the ball a little bit better.
Going back to Dane Blanton. And he hammers cross court once again. He just turns the ball away from his body. Really looks like he wants to hit the ball line.
Watch Blanton here. Lines up like he's hitting line. Stokey jumps into it into the middle, but hammers cross court. He's hit 80% of his shots cross court.
And a lot of players cut the ball cross court, but he hits the ball extremely hard away from his body. Going to Anginio. Boulliane and Blanton need a stuff block, but they don't need it on this play. A double contact, a chuck, a throw called against Randy Stoklos by referee Greg Krause.
Very rarely seen. Stokey, some of the purest hands on the beach.
Get to take another look at it.
Here it comes. Stokey underneath the ball. I think it's kind of double hit.
I'll tell you, a very, very hard play to see anywhere for that matter, and something you're really going to look for, you volleyball fans out there, when you get ready to watch the Olympic volleyball competition. There is no such thing as a throw. There is no such thing. Hobby and I could go out there right now and set the ball with our hands.
It's a very ugly game comparatively to this game. It's two different games.
The ball is different. The players are going to have to get used to that. It's much lighter.
The ball, you jump serve, and it's out consistently by 3 feet. It's just too blown up.
Karch Kirai told me that he, along with a lot of the other players who will be competing in the trials, are going to start practicing with the FIVB approved ball. It's quite a bit different than the Wilson ball that's used on the AVP Tour. Seams aren't as high, and as you mentioned, Tim, just carries out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a little bit too rounded. It doesn't catch the air, so there's no real topspin on it. It just keeps drifting out. You got to really take something off your serves.
And of course, the international teams that will be competing in Atlanta in the first ever beach volleyball Olympics have been using that exact same ball for a couple of years now. I'm not making any excuses. I mean, a ball's a ball, and the competition's going to be that, but it'll certainly be an adjustment for the AVP players. Anginio, dig by Boulliane. Boy, do they need to score here. Joust coming, and Bill Boulliane into the net. Dane Blanton taking too much of a chance there when they absolutely have to have a point.
He just drifted a little bit, Paul. Maybe a little bit of inexperience. Great. He's backing up. He should have been staying still when he set that ball. His feet planted underneath him, but he was backing up. That made it drift over the net. Good opportunity.
Bill Boulliane
has something to say.
Well, what he's saying is, how many timeouts do we have? And he says, we got that many? All right, let's use one. We're going to take a break just like Boulliane and Dane Blanton. They trail in our semifinal 13-8. Semi-final action. Paul Sunderland with Tim Hovland. This is the AVP Open at Indianapolis, of course, presented by Kodak Fun Saver cameras. They are our sponsor here this week. This is the Miller Lite AVP Tour, and a big, very important side out by Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane.
Watch this set. Blanton puts him off a little bit, but Bill is a big, strong kid. He puts that ball straight down the middle with some heat. That's a very tough swing right there.
Holding Anginio and Stoklos off of 14. Stoklos with the set. Anginio down. Bill Boulliane cannot believe a throw wasn't called. I think that's what he's asking for on Randy Stoklos.
What he wants is consistency. If you call that last one, you can call this one again. Watch Randy's under his ball, a little left to right. But he called the other one, you got to call that one. If you don't call it, let it go.
You could see the right hand come up higher.
Yes.
Stoklos was facing the bleachers and then directing the ball with his right hand. It came out pretty well.
It came out pretty well, but he called the other one. He sets a standard. You got to stay by the standard.
Saw a similar call made in the match earlier against Brian Lewis. Set a ball, it was absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect. And the throw was called. And then later on, Akatubby with a back set, spun a little bit. It was a great set. But again, you put the bar so high at the very beginning, you're just setting yourself up for trouble. Bill Boulliane looking to make a comeback. Over 2 minutes and 50 seconds still left on the game clock. Plenty of time. Anginio off the block. Boulliane is there. That's outside the antenna. Will be side out to Anginio and Stoklos.
Anginio is really using the block well. He's keeping the ball in front of him, hesitating a little bit, making their hands come down, and then he's hitting the ball. He's doing a great job.
Stoklos with a jump serve, working on his old partner, Bill Boulliane. Boulliane down the line, a crater-esque shot down the sideline by Big Beef.
What a shot. Here's the net cam right here. Blanton with a nice set on the net. Boulliane sets it up, hammers line. Hammering line. Nice shot by Billy B.
Dane Blanton, his partner, Canyon Seaman, one of the best serving teams on the beach. Nice touch, but Dane Blanton breaking towards the net, and the ball went over his head.
And I think they're a little tired there. They're not penetrating the net. They're a little bit below the net. That way, Anginio's being able to use their hands out of bounds all over the court.
When you're a new team, you want to finish your first tournament with a great taste in your mouth. And I think both are satisfied with where they are, but one will be significantly happier going on to the finals. Chance for Anginio, stopped by Bill Boulliane, and again, Stoklos and Anginio are denied match point.
Boulliane says, I am not tired here. Anginio with a nice pass. Watch Billy set up, get over the net with that left hand. Penetrating, puts the ball back. Sweet. Here's the net cam here. Watch his hands over the net. That's called straight down roof situation.
Boy, that is Jed.
That's Jed.
That is
Clamp
Jed
it, baby.
Clamp it. Great stuff blocked by Bill Boulliane, and so important because it keeps Stoklos and Anginio off of 14, but Boulliane comes back, serves the ball just out of bounds.
I believe in that situation. After I get a good block like that, I would come back to Anginio deep, just make him play the game, because in his mind, he knows, I just got roofed. I'm going to go to a shot, maybe pick it up, get a cheap point.
Make sure you keep that ball in and on the right opponent. Randy Stoklos, back to Boulliane. And Boulliane, I'll tell you, maybe you heard you, Tim. The wind's blowing in their direction. Maybe you heard you say they were a little bit tired. I agree with you, but he vented on the ref a little bit and been jumping strong since.
Watch the net cam here. Right by Stokey with some serious Hermosa heat.
Bill Boulliane grew up in Palos Verdes, went to San Diego State. Nice set by Anginio. Blanton was there. The one-arm stab, just not able to do it.
Billy just bought a nice house in Hermosa. A little jacuzzi in the background, in the back, a little ocean view. Very nice spot.
Absolutely. He hasn't invited me over yet.
I had to move him in.
Bill Boulliane's had a lot of success on the AVP Tour last couple of years. Among the elite group, no doubt about that. Ace serve by Anginio. Couldn't get it blocking, couldn't get it digging, couldn't get it hitting, so Anginio says, to heck with that, I'm bringing the ace.
He just comes up, rides up a little high on Blanton, kind of gives him a semi-six-pack. Kind of the Brazilian knuckleball, I'd say. Not a lot of
Was that the reverse?
spin.
That wasn't the reverse coconut.
I'm saving that.
All right, all right.
I'm saving that. I've seen it twice at Marine Street. He's got to break it out today for me.
Anginio with the ace serve, and he and Stoklos go to match point in our semifinals. Boulliane and Blanton on their last breath. We'll find out if they're done. The semifinal that won't end. Anginio and Stoklos have served for the match 13 times against Blanton and Boulliane. We'll get back to that confrontation in just a moment. But now, let's take a look at the surprise team of the weekend here in Indy. All right, let's find out who was on fire this week in Indianapolis. What team really impressed everybody out here? And of course, it was Nick Hanneman and Henry Russell, the 24th seeds. They beat Troy Tanner and Wes Welch, the 9th seeds, and then they beat Brent Frohoff and Ricky Ludes, the 8th seed. They eventually lost to Karch Kirai and Kent Steffes in the quarters, finished 9th. So to Nick Hanneman and Henry Russell, congratulations for lighting it up here in Indy. That was the team this week that was on fire. Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane, a new team this week. Dane Blanton lost his partner Canyon Seaman to injury. Bill Boulliane lost his partner Randy Stoklos by getting dumped, getting rejected for the choice of Adam Johnson to play in the Olympic trials in the Olympics. So Bill Boulliane said, if that's how you feel about it, we're done. I'm going to go get another partner. Stoklos was looking around and teamed up with Anginio, and for both teams it has worked out very, very well indeed.
This is a good break for both guys, both partners here. Boulliane gets a good partner for the qualifier, and Anginio gets a great partner for the next few tournaments.
And if either of them play just like this, I mean, it doesn't apply to Stoklos because he's going to play with Johnson in the Olympic qualifier, but if Dane Blanton and Bill Boulliane play like this in the Olympic trials, they get to go to Atlanta.
That would be a treat.
Last serve of the match, 2.7 seconds left. Stoklos just keeping the ball in play. This semifinal is over, and our finalists are set. It is the new, old, and new team again of Anginio and Randy Stoklos. We will see them in the finals in a little while against Karch Kirai and Kent Steffes. Standing ovation from the fans here at the Indianapolis Tennis Center. And much deserved. Randy Stoklos back in the finals.